Hey all, and welcome back. So here's something interesting and honestly a bit intense happening in Indiana politics right now. Vice President J.D. Vance just headed to Indiana, and it's not for a casual visit or campaign stop. He's there on a mission to jumpstart a redistricting push that's run into some serious roadblocks. And trust me, this isn't just about one state. What happens in Indiana could have ripple effects across the entire country. So, what's really going on? Well, Republicans in the state, backed by the Trump administration, have been working on a plan to redraw Indiana's congressional maps, not during the usual 10-year census cycle, but right now, mid-decade.
Why?
Because if they pull it off, they could potentially add one or even two more Republican-friendly seats to their column in the U.S. House. And with the GOP holding only a slim majority in Congress, even a few new seats could make a massive difference heading into 2026. But here's the catch: the plan's starting to stall. Despite having full control of the Indiana legislature, not everyone in the party is fully on board. Some key Republican leaders in the state Senate are, well, let's just say they're not exactly jumping up and down to make this happen. That hesitation has gotten the attention of both the White House and national GOP operatives. Which brings us to Vance, who's now making his second trip to Indiana in just a few months to try to get things moving again. It's almost like political triage at this point. The White House sees this effort slipping away and is sending one of its top people to patch things up and rally the troops. But that raises an interesting question. Why are some Indiana Republicans so hesitant to move forward when the plan could clearly help their party nationally? Is it purely political caution? Legal concerns? Or are they thinking long-term about how this might look to voters who are already skeptical of redistricting moves? On one side, you've got state leaders like Governor Braun and House Speaker Todd Huston. They seem open to the idea but are waiting for the Senate to show real support. Reports suggest that Braun has even warned the White House that this redistricting push might be stalled out unless someone steps in. And that someone, apparently, is Vice President Vance. Meanwhile, national GOP players, including folks from the RNC and conservative groups like Club for Growth, are jumping into the mix. They're reportedly running ads targeting Indiana lawmakers who aren't fully behind the plan, basically trying to nudge them into action. It's political pressure at its finest. Or, depending on how you look at it, maybe at its worst. But not everyone's cheering for this move. Indiana Democrats and some Republicans see it as a dangerous overreach. Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who calls Indiana home, has been vocal in his opposition. He's accused Republicans of trying to manipulate the system for partisan gain and has called on state leaders to publicly justify their actions. And let's be real, mid-decade redistricting does raise a few eyebrows. It's not illegal, but it's definitely rare and can lead to some serious accusations of gerrymandering, the kind of thing that erodes public trust. Now, here's something worth thinking about. Is this just politics as usual, or is it crossing a line? Should a party in power have the right to redraw maps whenever it wants, or should there be limits to prevent these moves from becoming too self-serving? From a strategic angle, it makes sense why Republicans would want to do this. They currently hold 7 out of Indiana's 9 congressional seats. The goal is to turn at least one of the remaining 2 Democratic seats red, potentially reshaping the state's political map for years to come. But on the flip side, this could invite lawsuits, voter backlash, and maybe even retaliation in blue states that could redraw their own maps in response. It's a political arms race, and everyone knows once one side starts, the other won't just sit back. The big question now is whether this plan even makes it through Indiana's legislature. Governor Braun has mentioned a possible special session in November to address the issue, but as of now, nothing's confirmed. And Senate leaders, especially President pro tempore Roderick Bray, seem to be keeping their distance. Some insiders say he's intentionally holding back, maybe to avoid taking the blame if things go south. That's where Vance's visit really comes into play. His job is to apply some friendly or maybe not so friendly pressure to get lawmakers off the fence. The White House is also reportedly sending a few top aides to coordinate the push, showing just how much importance they're placing on this one state. At the end of the day, this whole situation shows how critical every seat in Congress has become. With such tight margins, Even one or two districts can shift the balance of power, and that's why fights like this are getting fiercer. But beyond the political chess game, it also brings up a bigger question about democracy itself. When does political strategy cross into manipulation? And can voters trust a system where lines are redrawn based on who's in charge, rather than what's fair? So, what do you think? Is this just smart politics from the GOP, or is it a step too far? Should states be allowed to redraw maps mid-decade, or should redistricting be locked to the census years only? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, because this one's definitely up for debate. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future updates as this story develops. Because one thing's for sure, what's happening in Indiana won't just stay in Indiana. It could set the tone for redistricting fights all across America. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.